All right, shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm back again. Okay. And I started off, I actually was I guess it was the Ruach wanted me to go to Yahsharal. I'm thinking that it was another passage, but it was a different passage. So it's very critical, crucial that we follow the leading of the Ruach when we're doing something. So apparently that's what the Ruach wanted me to share in that last setting. So I'm back now. So I wanted to get to those brothers that have this thing to say about, you got blood from a Gentile, then you're not a Hebrew, you're a Gentile. Okay. All right. So we read some things in there that kind of confirmed what the point that Most High wanted me to make. But now I'm going to address something more on something to another level on the same subject that I thought I originally was going to be reading from, which was Jer Behold, chapter 31. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read, let's see, where do I want to begin here? Let's just read a little bit. Let's start at verse 1. I'm going to read, prayerfully, I'm not going to be lengthy with it. I'm going to try to read straight through. But, being a person a student of the word, a student teacher who loves the word, sometimes we can't help but stopping and adding, living, or expounding on something that we read. So prayerfully, if it's the Most High's will, I will read straight through. If not, then I will share what the Most High gives me to share out of that. More than likely, I probably will stop in the process and share some things, because I believe that's usually how the Most High uses me. So be that as it may, let's go ahead and hit it. Okay. Yirmiyahu, or Jeremiah 31 verse 1 says, it reads as follows. At the same time, says YHWH, will I be the Elohim of all the families of Israel, right? And they shall be my people. Thus said YHWH, the people which were left of the sword found favor in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest. YHWH have appeared of old unto me, saying, yes, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness, right, have I drawn thee, right? Again, I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O Virgin of Israel. Thou shalt again be adorned with thy tabrets, and shalt go forth in the dances of them that make merry, right? Thou shalt yet plant vines upon the mountains of Shumarom, or Samaria. The planters shall plant and shall eat them as common things. For there shall be a day that the watchmen upon the mount of Ephraim shall cry, arise ye, and let's go up to Zion unto YHWH our Elohim. For thus says YHWH, sing with gladness for Yaakov, and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O YHWH, save thy people, the remnant of Yisrael. Behold, I will bring them from the north country. He says, I will bring them from the north country. Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth. And with them the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither. So return from where? Where are we returning from? Returning from the lands of captivity. America is a land of captivity. Don't you get it twisted. Okay? I had a thought. I'm not going to share it because it's going to take me on a tangent. It's going to take me on a binge. I'm not going to share that thought, but I will say I will say that the time we're in now, the administration that's in office now do not know how much they're being used by the Most High to usher us into this end. I'll say that. Okay. He says, and for there shall be a day that the watchmen upon the mount of Ephraim shall cry, saying, arise, and let's go up to Zion unto YHWH our Elohim. For thus says YHWH, sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations, publish ye praises, and say, YHWH, save thy people, the remnant of Israel. Behold, I will bring them from the north country, and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind, the lame, the women with child, and her that travaileth with child together, a great company shall return thither. They shall come with weeping, and with supplications will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in the straight way, wherein they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. That's another lesson. Israel is my firstborn. Now he said Ephraim is my firstborn. That's a whole nother lesson. I'm not even going to touch it. I can hear you talk right now. Go ahead and elaborate. I'm not going to elaborate because that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm going to get on another. I'll be on another subject. Verse 10. Hear the word of YHWH, O ye nations, that declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him as the shepherd doth his flocks. So who scattered us, right? The Most High did. And now I want to give this to you. The European slave traders didn't scatter us. You was just the hand that the Most High used to fulfill prophecy. If the Most High didn't call it, you wouldn't have had the power to do it anyway. With all your knives, your guns, your ammunition, none of that would have helped you to be able to force the children of Israel, who you call African Americans and Negroes and blacks. Nothing that you could do or have done would have caused Israel, would have caused the children of Israel, the children of Yehuda and Jerusalem to go into captivity, because the Most High, he was the one that scattered us, not you. So I'm not mad at the European slave traders. I'm not mad at the African slave traders. I'm not mad at anybody, right? I'm mad at our own people who were stiff-necked and hard-headed and disobedient and didn't want to obey the Most High. Just as it is today, get religious. When you start pull somebody to the side that is a religious person, a Christian, renowned Christian, and you start sharing with them what the Most High requires from us, they go off and they turn a deaf ear and say, we're not under the Old Testament. The Old Testament is cool. We're not under the old law. That's the reason why we're in captivity, because of that same stinking thinking. All right, now, so it says it was the Most High. Let's read it again. Hear the word of YHWH. So everybody's listening. You hear the words, not of Kazak Yah, Ben Yahuda, Ben Israel, but of the words of the Most High Yah. He says, hear the word of YHWH, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles far off, and say, he that scattereth Israel will gather him, right, and keep him as a shepherd, right, does his flock. So the Most High said, I scattered you, and guess who's going to gather you? I'm going to gather you. Only I am the one that can gather you. I scattered you, and I'm going to gather you. Verse 11. For YHWH have redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Now read that again. For YHWH have redeemed Jacob. Who is Jacob? Israel. Yahsharal, right? The sons of the chosen, or of the heritage of the Most High. That's who Jacob is. Those who the Most High have called, right? And ransom him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. So whose hand was stronger than the Most High, that was stronger than Israel? Was it Satan's hand? He have redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Was it the devil? Or was it the seed of the devil? The seed of the serpent. Okay. Pardon me. Verse 12, therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, right? And shall flow together to the goodness of YHWH for wheat and for wine and for oil and for young and for flock and for herd and for souls shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all. Then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance, both young men and old together, for I will turn their mourning into joy and will comfort them and make them rejoice from their sorrow. And I will satiate the soul of the priest with fatness. And my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, says YHWH. So in other words, when this day happens, when the Most High gathers us back from where he scattered us, we're not going to be having lack anymore, brothers and sisters. And Yoshiyahu, Isaiah said, I'm not going to turn there, but he said that we shall eat the fat and suck the breasts of the Gentiles. So all that you see in the background, the water, the creeks, and the lake fronts, and the ocean view that we don't have privilege to see, in that millennial kingdom, when the Messiah returns, when the Most High gathers us from the lands, we're going to enjoy all of that, brothers. We're not going to just be reduced to one particular region. We're going to have the whole earth, brothers and sisters, during the millennium. The Most High, wherever we choose to go. And they're going to be serving us. All the nations are going to serve us. Okay. 15. Let me just say this before I go further. There's a teaching that America's going to be destroyed. No, it's not. It's not going to be destroyed. It's going to be here during the millennium, right? Why would the Most High destroy a place, right, that benefited from the labors of the children of Israel, and us not get repaid for it? We never got our 40 acres and a mule. You think the Most High going to destroy a land that he made, that we built, and us not get a chance to enjoy the grapes, enjoy the wine from the grapes, etc.? So no, America's not going to be destroyed. I'm sorry, I don't buy that. And it's not supported in you can twist the verses and twist the prophecies and make it look like that, but no, America's not going to be destroyed. Sorry, I don't buy that. Okay, now somebody said, well, brother, who is Babylon? That's another lesson. We'll deal with that in another subject another time. Okay. 15. Thus says YHWH, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rahel weeping for her children, refused to be comforted for the children because they were not. Verse 16. Thus says YHWH, refrain thy voice from weeping, right? And thine eyes from tears, right? For thy work shall be rewarded, says YHWH, and they shall come again from the land of their enemy. See that? So the earth is Yah's, absolutely. But in the millennium, the whole earth is going to be given to the sons of Yah and daughters of Yah. The nations will be serving us, brothers and sisters. Not the other way around. So let them have what they got for now. Our days come. We got 1,000 years to enjoy what they may enjoy for 100 years. Okay? So look at the beautiful water. I want to enjoy it right now on this side. But if I don't get an opportunity to enjoy it on this side, I'm going to get a chance to enjoy it in the Millennium Kingdom. I know that's a fact. Right? All right. 17. He said, and there is hope in thy end, says YHWH, that thy children shall come again to their own border. See that? We're going to come again to our own border. Okay? I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus. Oh, let me just iterate on that. Why are we coming to our own border? Right? Because that is the capital. That's where we're going to rule the nations. From Jerusalem. That's the capital of the world. Okay? That's why we're going to come into our own borders. Those of us who have been blessed to be a part of that government body, right? And prayerfully, I pray the Most High will find my works pleasing in His sight, that I may be a part of that governing body. The 144,000 is what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters. That too is another lesson. We won't go there either. Okay? Now, and there is hope in thine end, says YHWH, that thy children shall come again to their own border, right? Verse 18. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself, thus thou hast chastised me, and I was, though thou hast chastised me, and I was chastised as a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke. Turn thou me, and I shall be turned, for thou art YHWH my Eloheinu. Surely, after that I was turned, I repented, right? And afterwards I did hear the reproach of my youth, right? See that? So, what is the Most High require in captivities but us to repent, right? For our father's sins. In Leviticus 26, he says, if we shall confess our own sins and the sins of our fathers. So we are confessing, repenting of our sins and of our father's sins, right? Okay. So repentance is what he's calling for. 19, surely after that I was turned, I repented, and afterwards that I was instructed, I smote upon my thigh, I was ashamed, yes, even confounded, because I did bear the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spake against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my bowels are troubled for him. I will surely have mercy upon him, says YHWH. Set up waymarks, make thee high heaps. Set thine heart towards the highway, even the way which thou wentest. Turn again, O Virgin of Israel, turn again to these thy cities, right? So now we're getting ready to get into the part where most people start and read. But there can be no new covenant if there's not a repentance, brothers and sisters. We can't spend our time being mad at the Gentiles, being mad at Esau, trying to find who's Esau, brother, who's Esau. I could give a care less about who Esau is. All I want to know is, what must I do to be saved, right? That's what our focus should be. What must I do to be saved? Esau gonna be Esau, Gentile gonna be the Gentile, the world gonna be the world, but Israel's got to be Israel, right? And got to serve the Father on his terms, right? All right, now verse 22. We're still in YHWH chapter 31. Make sure my recording is still going. Am I still live? Yes. Okay. Verse 22. YHWH 22, 31 and 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For YHWH have created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Now that's not talking about a woman leading a man. Women led men. It's not something new. Deborah led the children of Israel, and others had roles of authority. So a woman leading a man is not something new. Okay, that's not what it's talking about. That too is another lesson which I'm not going to deal with. Let you meditate on it. You give me your thoughts if you want to, and you post your video, and then I will look at what you share. But no, that's not talking about a woman leading a man. And I've heard so many people use that because they don't want to submit themselves to a man. And I don't want to go there, brothers. The Most High just said the daughters of Israel was haughty. He's not going to put the daughters of Israel to rule over Israelite man if he says that they're haughty, right? Read the book of YHWH and you'll find that there, okay? But be that as it may, let me go forward. 23. Thus says YHWH of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, as yet they shall use this speech in the land of Yehuda, right? And in the cities thereof, when I shall bring again their captivity, YHWH bless thee, O habitation of justice and mountain of holiness. Okay, verse 24. And there shall dwell in Yehuda itself, and in all the cities thereof together, husbandmen, and they that go forth with flocks. Okay. Now, if you really want to know what he's talking about the daughters of Israel, encompassing, meaning surrounding that man, meaning following that man, meaning those men are going to actually really lead the women, the daughters of Israel, as they were instructed to do, not to be usurpers or to be bosses over them, but to actually look after them, to care for them, to make sure that they have everything that they need. When a woman encompasses a man, she circles a man. If you look at it from the Hebraic perspective, she surrounds herself by that man, right? She has faith and belief and trust. That woman is a virtuous woman, as we find in Proverbs. Who can find a virtuous woman, right? That's what that's talking about. Okay. So verse 20. Let's go read 24 again. And there shall dwell in Yehuda itself, and all the city thereof together, husbandmen, and they that go forth with flocks. For I have satiated the weary soul, and I have replenished every sorrowful soul. See that? So all the sorrow that you are experiencing in the captivity, in the captive lands, the Most High says he's going to replenish every sorrowful soul. Okay? Upon this I awakened and beheld, and my sleep was sweet unto me. 27 says, we're still reading Yirmiyahu or Jeremiah 31. This is 27. Behold, the days cometh, YHWH, that I will sow, listen, I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Yehuda with the seed of men and with the seed of beasts. Now, notice what he said. He didn't say he's going to sow the house of Israel against the seed of man and against the seed of beasts. But now we use the English word, of course. Now we look at the Hebrew. It has the same rendering, which he says, I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Yehuda and the seed of men and the seed of beasts. Right? So in other words, he's sowing the house of Israel with other nations and with the terrible of the nations, or the beasts, the ones that are in control, right? That's how we end up having mulattoes, because the Most High has sowed the seed of Israel with the seed of beasts to bring Israel to a place where we can be redeemed out of the lands of captivity. Praise the Most High Yah for his omnipotent knowledge and wisdom. Verse 28 says, and it shall come to pass that like as I have watched over them to pluck up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict, so will I watch over them to build and to plant, says YHWH. Hallelujah. That's awesome, isn't it? In those days, they shall say no more, their fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge, but everyone shall die for his own iniquity. And what days are we talking about, brothers and sisters? Huh? We're talking about the millennial kingdom. In that day, I heard a teaching, and I'm not going to go and elaborate, but that everybody that's not on Yah's side going to die when the Messiah returns. That's not true. There's too many prophecies that speaks against that. Matter of fact, the Most High, the reason why the Most High said every man will die for his own iniquity, because during the 1,000 years, there are going to be people that's left And I don't want to go, listen, brothers and sisters, we can go to Yahsharal, we can read it. And I recommend you to read it, because I'm not going to extend this version out to go over there, because we've done it in other lessons. But you can go to Yahsharal, or you can Google it, and you can find where the Most High said what he was going to do, right? Where he said that, I'm not going to go there because I don't want to get off. But anyway, that's when that verse is going to take place during the millennial kingdom, when every man will die for his own iniquities. Because if this is the case, brothers and sisters, we wouldn't be in the lands of captivity if every man was going to die for his own iniquities. Most High would just stop with that generation there. We wouldn't be here in captivity. Okay? Babies didn't do anything to go into captivity. They just happened to be born under the transgression of their fathers. And the generation, the Most High said in Exodus chapter 20, he visits the iniquities of the father to the children, to the third and fourth generation of them that hate him, and show mercy unto thousands of them that love him and keep his commandments, right? Okay, now, let me go ahead, because I've been lengthy and I'm trying to bring this to a close. So, verse 30 says again, but everyone shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. That's during the millennial kingdom, not right now, okay? Verse 31, behold, the days comes, says YHWH, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehudah. And that new covenant is not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, as I've heard other teachers teach. We're not in the new covenant, brothers and sisters. I can't understand how. Let me take my glasses off. I can't understand how you can't understand that we're not in the new covenant. And I've heard great teachers, people that I have respect for, that's been teaching a long time, teach that we are in the new covenant. We are not in the new covenant. We're not. Listen to what the text says. This is not, I'm not making this up. I'm reading it from the text. He says, behold, says YHWH, I will make a new covenant. Now see, what you have, the mistake that you have made is you have brought that doctrine of Christianity over into the Hebraic way. So see, now we're in the new covenant now. You brought that weak doctrine from Christianity into this walk, and you said we are in the new covenant. No, we're not in the new covenant. That doesn't happen until 1,000 years, when we are gathered. Everything we're reading about here is about Israel being gathered from the lands of captivity. That is when the new covenant is. Okay? And for that matter, it's not a new covenant, something brand spanking new, like a brand new car. It is a renewal covenant, right? So he says, I will make a new covenant, and the same word that's used for new moon is used here for new covenant, which means repaired. The new moon, when we see a new moon from month to month, we don't see an old brand spanking. We never saw that moon before. No, it is a moon that has refreshed itself, that has gone through the phases, right? The waxing and the waning, right? The first quarter, the second quarter, etc. Right? The different phases until it went through the next cycle to where we call it a new month or a new moon, or a repaired moon or a refreshed moon. So that's what this is talking about, a kodesh, a renewal, not a brand spanking new. A renewal means that you are going to be placed back in your place of rulership. That's what the prophets talked about. That's what the book of Revelation talks about. When the last trumpet, we're in the season of the trumpets, the seventh trumpet, the last trumpet, when the kings of this world become the kings of the Messiah and of the Most High, and we shall reign with him for 1,000 years. That is when the new covenant is into fruition. Not now. We're not ruling. We're not ruling nothing. All right. So he says, behold, the days come. I read 31 again. I will make a new covenant, or a renewed covenant, with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehudah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in that day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband unto them, says YHWH. But this shall be the covenant. Now, before I go further to read, right? This time, the new covenant is, get this. The new covenant is Yahshua. He is the new covenant. The difference between the old covenant, hear this now, and the new covenant is we have the physical reign of the Messiah on earth, leading as the king, as the ruler on the earth physically in a visible form. See that? That's the difference. We don't have, because remember when Israel asked for a king, right? Okay, the Most High was invisible, but he wasn't visible, right? In a tangible position where he was calling the shots, but he gave it to us, brothers and sisters, to enforce the shots that we didn't enforce. So when he comes back and we rule on the earth, he's going to be here with us calling the shots, and we will be his cabinet. It will be no voting him out of office for 1,000 years. It will be no, we want a new king. We won't be like the other nations. We're going to have the kingdom of Yah is going to be so awesome that nobody going to want to leave. Matter of fact, everybody going to want to be a part of that kingdom. They like, man, I want to be a part of that kingdom, man. And that's when we going to keep the Feast of Tabernacles and all that during the 1,000 years, right? Okay? So that is how and when we will know that we are in the new covenant, is when the Messiah returns and he sets up the kingdom from Jerusalem. You can read that in Yahsharal chapter 2. And I think it's in Hosea. Okay? So, having said that, let's continue. Let's try to close this out here. So he says, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. Okay? So now, for anybody that might have any doubt in their mind what the covenant is, he's going to tell it. I'm using my best English. He going to tell it to you right now. Right, as they say down south. He going to tell it to you right now. I'm not even from the south, but I'm going to use that. He going to tell it to you right now. Okay? He said, this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, says YHWH, I will put my law, not nail it to the tree, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohenu, and they shall be my people, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, right? And every man his brother, saying, know YHWH, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, says YHWH, for I will forgive their iniquities, and I will remember their sins no more. So what is he saying? Those who he have called to rule with him for the 1,000 years will rule in 100% complete totality of truth, because the word will be written in their hearts and in their minds. It will be automatic, just like you automatically don't even have to think about walking when you get up out your seat to go walk. It'll be automatic. It'll just flow. The law would just flow right out. Just like Yahshua was the walking law. He knew the law. He was walking. He walked and talked the law. He was the law on foot. And that's how we're going to be, just like him. We will be the law on foot. right? We will rule the nations with the rod of iron the correct way, right? And we won't take advantage of people, and we won't make them chattel slaves, but we will make them servants of the Most High through enforcing the laws of the Most High and the penalties, the judgments, all that goes along with that. So during the 1,000 years, we will be enforcing the law, statutes, and judgments during the 1,000 years. Okay. Right now, the judgments, for the most part, have been suspended. That's the reason why we don't literally stone anyone, because those judgments have been suspended, because we're not the leading or the functioning government. We're under the government of the world, or as the Most High calls to the prophet Daniel, the beast. Okay? Now, verse 35 says, Thus says YHWH, which giveth the sun for light by day, and the ordinance of the moon for the stars by light by night, which divideth the sea, when this wave whereof roar, right? YHWH of hosts, YHWH Sabaoth is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, says YHWH, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. And the Most High said that's not the case. We've been scattered. He scattered us for an appointed time, right? 37. Thus says YHWH, if heaven above can be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, says YHWH. Okay. Has he cast us off? No. Okay. Have we been scattered? Yes. Will we be gathered? Yes. When will we be gathered? When we repent and when the Most High has reached his quota. And we don't know what that quota is. He knows. And when he reaches that quota, and there's some other things in prophecy that's being fulfilled that's going to take place, that's when he will gather us, right? We can't gather ourselves and bring it into it. He has to be pleased with what he sees in us and make his decision to gather us from the lands of captivity, okay? And the measuring, okay, so let's go to 38 again. Behold, the days come, says YHWH, that the city shall be built of YHWH from the tower of Hanael unto the gate of the corner. And the measuring line shall yet go forth over against it upon the hill of Gareb, and shall compass about to Goth. See that? And the whole valley of dead bodies, listen, the whole valley of dead bodies, and of all the ashes and all the fields unto the brook of Kidron, or Kidron, unto the corner of the horse gate towards the east, shall be Kodesh, or set apart, unto YHWH. It shall not be plucked up nor thrown down any more for what? Ever. The end. So now, the Most High has been clear about the call that he has made or given to Israel, right? And what he said he would do in himself scattering us into the lands where we have been scattered, brothers and sisters. Now, I want to read this here and we can close this out for this session. And let's go to Exodus. I always like to read this because for us to understand, or as we say in Hebrew or Hebrew, overstand, we have to overstand or have the clarity of what we were originally called to. When we overstand what we've been called to, then we will overstand or have the clarity or have the knowledge of what our role will be during the 1,000-year millennial kingdom. Okay? Now, so in Shemoth, or Exodus chapter 19. This is the verse 1. We're going to read some of this, and we'll read until I feel that we've gotten what we need to get out of this, and then we're going to close it out for this session. Chapter 19, verse 1. And let me just say this. I had a whole lot more that I wanted to say, but I want to kind of stick with the relevancy of what I'm talking about now, because there's some things in prophecy that's happening. The trumpets are being blown as we speak. The last trumpet is on the way, is on the horizon, right? Where that's the last or the end trumpet, where we will be gathered from the lands of captivity. But they're blowing as we speak now. Those 6 and 7 trumpets are being blown as we speak now, right? Okay. But anyway, having said that, let's go back to Exodus or Shemoth, Exodus chapter 19, verse 1, and it says, in the third month, right, when the children of Israel were going out of Egypt, or out of Mizraim. Okay, so the third month. Okay, so what's the first month? Abib, right? Okay. Then after Abib comes what? The 50 days, or YHWH, which is what? YHWH, or as the world calls it, Pentecost, right? So 50 days, 30, 60, 90, okay, in the third month, right? So this happened, get this now, at the time, around the time, if not on the time, well, I can't quite concur or quite zoom in and say that for a fact, but we know the third month, right? The third month, I don't want to call those pagan months out, but you know, month 1, right? Abib. Month 2, which is what the world calls the 5th month of the world Gentile calendar. And then the 6th month, we know what the world calls that, but that is the third month. See? So the 6th month of the world's calendar is the third month of the Most High's calendar, which is when he said this right here. When he said this right here. I'm feeling southern today, so got a little accent going. Hopefully it's coming up right. But anyway, so he said, when they were going forth out of the land of Mizraim, in the third month, during the time of YHWH. This is what he says. We can dissect that and exegete that, and we can prove that that was the time of the YHWH. We can prove it. We're not going to do it, but we can prove it. Okay. Okay. Now, so he says, in the third month, when the children of Israel were going forth out of the land of Mizraim, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai, right? Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim and were come unto the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. So not only did Israel come out, and this happened during the third month, but also they had Sukkoth, or Sukkah. They dwelt in tents, in booths, right? So here we hit 2 feast days at the same time when they came out of Israel. They came out of Egypt, I should say. 2 feasts, Sukkah and YHWH, right? So, for they were departed from Rephidim, and they were coming to the desert of Sinai, and pitched their tents in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moshe, watch this now. And Moshe, what did Moshe do? Went up to Yahweh And Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, you have seen what I did unto the Egyptians. Okay. So when the Most High, we're looking at a parallel, brothers and sisters. When the Most High bring us out of the lands of captivity, when the plagues happen in the book of Revelation to get the children of Israel free from the land of captivity, right? The Most High said what? He said, say unto the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, you have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you up on eagle's wings and brought you into myself. Now we have another parallel. Israel was brought out of Egypt in a hurry, in a flight, fast in a hurry. Just like when he comes to take us out of captivity, it's going to be fast in the twinkling of an eye, in a hurry. He says it's going to be in a twinkling of an eye at the last trump. That's when it's going to happen. It's going to be quick. That's what he's talking about. I took you. Look what he says. Let's read again. He says, how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you into myself. So he flew. Israel took flight out of Egypt bondage. When the Most High gathers us, it's going to be a quick flight, quick in a hurry. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. Taken quick in a hurry. Isn't that something? All right, let's continue. So he says, thus shalt thou say, now therefore, verse 5, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So what the Most High is saying in verse 5, can I trust you? Are you going to obey my voice indeed? Are you going to what? Keep my covenant? Or are you going to say, oh, we're in a new covenant now. Old covenant is cool. He said, can I trust you? Are you going to keep my covenant? Are you going to obey my voice indeed? He said, if you do this, then I shall make you a peculiar treasure, right? Unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine. He didn't say just Jerusalem. He said, all the earth is mine. The earth is Yah's and the fullness thereof. Right? Okay. 6. And you shall be unto me a kingdom. Where we see that at? In the Gilead, or the book of Revelation. Okay. You shall be a kingdom of priests. Hey, the seventh trumpet blows. I don't have my shofar, but you get the picture. He gathers us from the four corners, and we do what? The kingdoms of the world are taken from the world rulership, the leaders, the children, the seed of the serpent, and given to the people of the kingdom. For those that obey his voice and keep his covenant during the 1,000 years, he said, I will make you a kingdom of priests, right? And a set apart, or a Kodesh nation, right? A Kodesh nation, right? It's going to be Israelite nationalism. I will make you a Kodesh nation, and these are the words which you shall speak to the children of Israel, right? So that is what the Most High has called us to, right? Now, let's do this here, and I'm going to try to close right here, okay? Let's bring it home. For those of you that don't believe in the second half of the book, this might go over your head. But let's go to Revelation chapter 7, I believe it is. And let's go to Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7. Hold that thought for a second there. Let me just make sure I'm going to the right place. All right. Okay. I said Revelation 7. I believe it's where we want to be. Okay. I'm wrong. is Revelation 8. So let's go to Revelation chapter 8. Okay. And once again, this is, you can see this here. All right. This is, it says the Hebrew English New Covenant. Okay. Which we know we're not under the New Covenant, but this is what they call it. So Revelation 8. So let's go to Revelation 8, the last book here. This Hebrew book, it reads from right to left. So Revelation, somebody probably said, brother, you're looking on the wrong side of the book. Revelation would be here if it was English text, but it's Hebrew, so it's on the right. It's on the left. Okay, like at the beginning. Okay, that's the whole Revelation with that just in itself. The end is seen from the beginning. Okay, did I say it right? Okay, now, so Revelation 13, and I'm sorry, sleep out. Revelation 8. Revelation 8. All right. Let's read it. We're gonna close it out here. Okay. Revelation 8. And let's see. And I'm a little rusty with reading from the right to the left. Let's see. So let's see. Here we go. Revelation 8:1, and it reads as follows. And when he had opened the seventh seal, right, there was a silence. There was a silence in heaven about the space of an half hour. And I saw the seven angels which stood before Elohenu, and to them were given seven trumpets. Okay. So before the Most High was seven Malachim, or messengers, who had seven trumpets, right? Verse 3, and another angel came and stood on the altar having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers with the saints ascended up for the Most High Yah out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar, right? And cast it into the earth, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. Now, where did we see that at, brothers and sisters? I don't want to be so repetitive, or that's not what I'm looking for to say, but anyway, to have clarity of what's happened, we first got to take note, when did that happen? When they heard voices, thunders, and lightnings, and an earthquake. In Exodus, or Shemoth chapter 20, immediately after the Most High called the nation of Israel to their place of responsibility of being a kingdom of priests, in chapter 20, he gave the Decalogue, or we call it the Ten Commandments. And then after he gave the instruction, then Israel saw the thunder, the lightning, and the earthquake, and the smoke. And then they said, man, oh man, we can't take this, brother. This is, look, I tell you what, here, you speak to Moshe, and we'll hear him. We'll let him be our priest. We can't deal with that. We're not willing. But at first they said, all that you said we will do, but then after that, they heard the thunder, the lightning, and saw the place on smoke. They was like, ooh, we can't take this here, brothers. Let's try something. I tell you what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let the Most High speak to Moshe, right? So we see the same thing happening here. Verse 6. And the seventh angel, Malachim, which had the seven trumpets, right, prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, right? The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and there were cast upon the earth, and a third part of the trees were burned up, and all green grass was burned up. So that's the first one. Verse 8. The second angel sounded. We're talking about the trumpets. This is the second trumpet sounded. Second angel sounded, and there was a great mountain burning with fire, which cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Verse 9. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. So 1/3 of all the ships that's in the ocean is going to be destroyed when that second angel sounds, or third angel, I should say. Verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell. I'm sorry, I was right. Second angel. Third angel, verse 10. When the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. It fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood. The third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, right? And the third part of the moon and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for the third part of it, and the night likewise, right? And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of what? The trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. All right, verse 9. Or chapter 9, verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven and the earth, and to whom was given the key of the bottomless pit. He opened the bottomless pit, and there rose smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of the great furnace, and the sun and air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Verse 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as scorpions of the earth to have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of Elohim in their foreheads, or the seal of YHWH in their foreheads. 5. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. Verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Right? Now, let's skip down to verse 13. I want to kind of hasten on here. Verse 13. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before Yah, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay a third part of men. And the number of the army of horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. So this is the army of the Most High Yah. So the armies of the world can't compare to 200,000, right? So you do the math. That's how big the Most High army is going to be. That's bigger than all the three big continents in the world. Okay? Now, verse 17, Thus I saw the horsemen in a vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and jacinth, and brimstone, and heads of horses, were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire, smoke, and brimstone. Now, I want to skip forward to the seventh angel. Okay, the seventh trumpet, I should say. So let me see. Hold on a second here. Let's get the actual verse where it is. All right, let's see. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11, and let's skip to start at verse 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. I'm sorry, I'm at the 10th verse. That's 10th verse, chapter 11. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts. Let's back up just a little bit. Let's start at verse 1. We're going to read from verse 1 down, and we're going to close this out, okay? Pardon me for being lengthy on this part, but be that as it may, let's just go ahead and get it done. Okay, verse 1. And there was given to me a reed like unto a rod. There was given to me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, Rise and measure the temple of Yah, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple, leave it out, measure it not, for it is given to the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread down 40 and 2 months. And I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth, right? 4. These are the 2 olives and the 2 candlesticks standing before Yah of the earth. If any man will hurt them, fire proceed out of their mouths and devour their enemies, and if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. These have power to shut heaven, and if it rain not, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all the plagues, right? As often as they will. Verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them to kill them, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street. Now you got to watch this, because this is going to come. This is bringing it home. This is bringing it home, brothers and sisters. We're talking about the last trumpet, right? After they kill these bodies, it says, verse 8, their dead bodies shall lie in the streets in the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also the Master Yahshua was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in the graves. So they're rejoicing now, the people during this time, over the 2 witnesses that was slain in the streets. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. So they're going to have themselves a little Christmas party and give out Christmas gifts to everybody. Seasoned greetings, right? And watch what the Most High does here. He says here, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life. See, that's why we got to understand, when the Most High breathed into Adam the breath of life, he put the spirit of life in him. He became a living soul. So when he takes the breath of life out of you, you become what? A dead soul. You're not up in heaven looking down smiling, as the preacher tell you. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yah entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. So just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, and the Messiah was 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth, 3 days and 3 nights these witnesses were slain on the streets, and on that 3rd day they were resurrected. Okay, what was the thing that caused the resurrection? Watch. It said, breath entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. I wonder what that was. Huh? You're going to see in a minute. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and a 10th part of the city fell, and the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. Watch this now. And the remnant were frightened and gave glory to the Elohim of heaven. The second woe was past, and behold, the third woe come quickly. Verse 15. And the 7th angel sounded, and there was great voices in heaven. So what happened? When they died, that was the indication 3 days later that the Messiah was returning. So what are you saying, brother? I'm saying when those two witnesses died, 3 days later was when the last trumpet was blown and the voices were heard in heaven. Look what it says here. Look at it again. It says, verse 15, the 7th angel sounded. How many angels are there in Revelation? The trumpets? 7. 5 plus 2 is 7. The 7th angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, right? Saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our YHWH and of his Mashiach. And he shall reign forever and ever. See that? So it's during that 7th trumpet when it sound, which is what ushers in the millennial reign, where the Most High Yah and his son and his cabinet comes to take over the governments of this world. Thus we read, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of YHWH and of his Messiah, of his Mashiach. All the kingdoms, every last one of them. Mr. Trump, if you're in office during this time, your kingdom will be taken from you. So you can do what you want to do right now. But when the Messiah returns, you will be, if you're still alive, dethroned. Putin, Wooten, whoever is ruling in Russia, in China, in Japan, in France, and you name wherever country you're from, when the Messiah returns, you will be dethroned. It was not the words of yours truly. It comes straight from the book. He said the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms. I want to give you something else to add to that as we close, right? Okay. Let's go to Daniel. Okay. Let's go to Daniel or Daniel. And I believe it's chapter 7. So let's close this here and let's go to Daniel chapter 7, and we're going to read chapter 7, 27. Okay, Daniel or Daniel chapter 7, 27. This nature is something else. These little gnats and bugs are just having a field day today. Butterflies cutting off me, flying in front of my face. But this is wonderful. At least nobody's shooting at me, right? I'm not in the city where I'm getting shot at or I'm having duck bullets. But anyway, it's peaceful and quiet. Only thing you hear is cars driving by. But anyway, be that as it may, let's see. Let's go to Daniel. I say Daniel 7, Daniel 7. As soon as I get to it, I gotta find it in here. Alrighty, let's see. We're just about there. Alright. Okay, 7. We're gonna say, well, I said 7 and 27. And the wind wants to blow my pages. Okay, 7 and 27. So let's see, let's go back here. All right. Let's start at verse let's start at verse 1. The first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. And Daniel spoke and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like unto a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like unto the bear, and raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads, and dominion was given to it. So now, what are we reading, brother? Okay, in a nutshell, we're talking about the kingdoms that were ruling over Israel, right? That would rule over Israel, the lands that we will be in captivity until the end time, right? So now, what I want to bring out is that the book is a book called The Ladder of Jacob, or Ladder of Yaakov, we call it, where he talks about the children of Israel being in world captivity throughout various periods until the end time, when Israel will be gathered from the lands of captivity where they was taken. Now, the prophecy said that the children of Israel would go in slavery into foreign lands by way of ships. Okay? What has happened to the so-called African American blacks is a fulfillment of the prophecy that the Most High said that the nation of Israel would go into slavery in slave ships. Now, I know you never heard it before, and I know your pastor don't teach that, but that's a prophecy that's in Deuteronomy 28 that said that would happen to the children of Israel, that they would go into slavery and be sold as male and female slaves. Okay? And someone's about to dock their boat in the creek. But anyway, let me hasten on here. So he said, after this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceeding, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Right? So as we look at this, we look at the prophecy, we see that Israel was said to be into various different captivities under different leaders. Now, in that ladder of Jacob, or I call the ladder of Yaakov, it talks about the faces, the ladder, when Yaakov had this dream, this vision, after he had the battle with his brother Esau. He saw a ladder, and on the ladder he saw the faces kept changing, and as the faces kept changing, what was happening was that his family, the Israelite nation, was under rulership to different leaders of the world. And this is what he's talking about here. Okay, so then he says, verse 8, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them a little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in his horn were eyes like eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. And I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the brooks were open. And I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spoke, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion, watch this now, taken away. Yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. See that? So they lost their reign, but they lived after they lost their reign for a season and time. And I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like as the Son of Man came with the clouds. Now, what did the Messiah tell his disciples when he went up? After they impaled him or crucified him, he was taken up. He said, why are you sitting here gazing in the heavens? The same Messiah that was taken is coming back in the same manner on the cloud. So he said they saw the Son of Man, which came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, that was his Father. And they brought him near before him, and there was given to him dominion, right? And glory and kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. You like that? So the Messiah, the reason why people want to make the Messiah out to be something that he's not is because they don't understand, or they don't understand that this religious figure that you made is something that you can control. But the true Messiah, the one that the Most High has sent, is not going to be controlled by man. He's going to take over. He's going to take over all the kingdoms, brothers and sisters. Right? Now, let's continue to read some more, because I didn't get to the point where I wanted to get them. I'm going to close out here. Okay? Verse 15 says, I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me to know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts which are four kings which shall rise out of the earth. But the saints, the saints of the Most High shall do what? Take the kingdom. See, the saints of the Most High are going to take. They're not going to ask for the kingdom. They're not going to, plead or bargain with them. They're going to just take it. So when the Most High is going to send an army with 200,000 thousands, there ain't going to be no bargaining. We're going to just take. We just taking everything. We don't have time to go into it, but it's going to be some major bloodshed on the earth, brothers and sisters. But the Most High kingdom will be set up. And you say, oh, he's a God of love, he wouldn't hurt nobody. You better read the book. It's going to be bloodshed, brother. It's going to be a feast for the birds. Okay? Then verse 19, I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devour and break pieces and stamp the residue with his feet. 20 says, and then the 10 horns, this page wants to blow. Look at that. He's fighting me. the powers of the air trying to prevent me from reading this part here. Look at that. Look, the page is just blowing. Okay. I still got authority over you. I can read it from on the screen. I'm going to read it from the page. All right. Verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, right? And of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn had eyes and a mouth that spoke very great things, whose look was more stout than any of his fellows. Who that would be? The Donald Trump administration. To make America great again. That's who you're talking about, right? This one here was braggadocious, the big bad wolf. Nobody can take us. You know, we're the greatest kingdom on the earth. So the same spirit that was in Nebuchadnezzar is the same spirit that's in this government. All right. Let's let that sink for a minute. All right. I beheld the same horn. Okay, let me back up. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, the other which came up before him, 3 fell. Okay, verse 21. Verse 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. So that's what we're seeing now. Okay, this we can protest all day long about the injustices that's being done to the so-called African Americans, Negroes, or whatever label you want to put on us. But the reality is, the matter is that this beast don't care. It's going to take the Most High to whip their tail, to whip their behind into submission. That's why the Most High is going to raise up a 200,000 times 1,000, which would be what, 200 million side piece army. It's going to take out the armies of this earth that is constantly coming against the children of Israel, which is what they call the time of Yaakov, or Jacob's trouble. That's what we're going through right now. Okay. So, and, you know, I had a dialogue with my good Moray friend, and we was talking about the situation with Colin Kaepernick taking the knee, and how that my favorite team, which is Cowboys, coach, owner Jerry Jones, has told the people anybody that takes the knee is going to be dealt with, right? So all of them are actually taking sides of the system because it's prophecy being fulfilled. They have just not come forward and been outspoken with it like he has done, but they're doing the same thing. They're telling their players not to take the knee, because see, only the Most High is going to repay. He's the only one that's going to repay the nations for what they continue to do. They're not going to stop until the Most High kick their behinds. They're going to keep doing it. They'll find some kind of legal way to get justification to do what they do. But it's going to take the Most High to whoop their natural born behinds before they stop. They're not going to stop on their own. You can't pass a legislation or nothing, none of that. You can't vote them out of office. I'm not saying that you shouldn't vote. What I'm saying is that's a spirit. You can't legislate a spirit. It's a spirit on the nations. They have a hatred towards the Most High and towards his people. They want to extinct us, cause us to become extinct. So that's what we're dealing with. All right. Now, having said that, let me get back so I can close this out for my 3rd time, or is it my 4th time? All right, let's see. I'm enjoying myself. This is Shabbat. All right, so Okay, so he said, verse 21 says, and behold, the same who made war with the saints, or the children of Israel, made war with the saints and prevailed over them, prevailed against them. Okay? Get that in your psyche. They prevailed against them. But watch what happens. Until they prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came and judgment, watch this now, was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So it's all about, see, the nations know that the people who they have oppressed and continue to rob and continue to steal from, and Serena, that's in their nature to rob the children of Israel. That's why he robbed you of the point he took from you. It's in their nature to rob. They're going to rob because it's in their nature to rob. They're going to rob. They're called to rob. They're thieves. But the Most High said what? He says, until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed their kingdom. So that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of us possessing the kingdoms that they think that they have built. When in actuality, we built the kingdoms. They rule, because that's what the prophecy said would happen. But he said, but a time's going to come where we're going to eat the fat of the Gentiles and suck the breasts. Okay? And the saints shall possess the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break in pieces. And the 10 horns out of the kingdoms are 10 kings that shall rise, and another shall rise after them, and shall be diverse from the first. And he shall subdue 3 kings, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and dividing of times. So the Most High gave him the right and the privilege to change laws and times. But their time is coming to a close, right? All right. But the judgment, 26. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. Who's the they? The children of Israel. And the kingdom and the dominion to consume, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept this matter in my heart. So he kept the matter in his heart until this day, which you're looking at this light-skinned, bald-headed man sitting in a quiet town of a small county, historical Kent County, Maryland, right? To tell you, or to break down to you this book, what the prophet Daniel saw and what is befalling the children of Israel, the so-called African, black, Negroes, Jamaicans, Cubans, Haitians, whatever you want to call us, where those slave ships took us, where the Most High scattered us. We are the people. And I'll leave you with this. The Most High said that Israel is his battle axe. And with Israel, and this is the fear that's among the nations, Those who don't want to serve Yah, Most High said, I'm going to use my battle axe, and they're going to break to pieces the nations. So with that said, I pray you got something out of the sharing, and I pray that you've had a blessed Shabbat. And until the next time, may the blessings of the Most High Yah be with you and your family. Shalom, shalom, shalom.